Hey guys, this is Nina G, and I'm sitting in the car waiting to go into the punchline, which is what all the comics do in San Francisco every Sunday, so that they can eventually get on stage there. So if I'm a little distracted, it's because trolley cars are going by and all that stuff. So I wanted to do, this is my first video that I've ever done like this, and I wanted to do it just because it's been a really interesting stuttering weekend. Friday night, I did a show around mostly, or a good amount of older Italian people, and it was at an Italian place. And I'm full-blooded Italian American, third generation on my dad's side, fifth on my mom's, and I still identify with the culture to a certain extent, but I also there's also things within the culture that I tend to challenge, like ideas around sexism and racism and that kind of stuff. So, and those are also things that I talk about in my act. And sometimes people who are older folks who are Italian, are sometimes in a stage of denial about certain things, and that's also something that I to talk about in my act, even though it's not a lot on the YouTube videos. So I went into this thinking like, oh, I'm gonna have this is my people. This is Italian Americans. They're gonna love me. They fucking hated me. Oh my God. I don't know if they thought I was faking it, or if, part of it was, or this is at least what I projected onto them, is that they thought maybe okay, sometimes with older Italians, if you have an issue, like, and there are issues that they think are issues. So it could be stuttering, it could be homosexuality, being gay. It's okay as long as you don't talk about it. It could be over there, but as long as we don't have to talk about it, it's okay. And what I kind of felt was I was talking about the thing that they didn't want to talk about. And not only was I talking about it, I was also doing it and demonstrating it. And I had the feeling that they kind of resented me, or they saw it as a vulnerability, and I felt like the whole freaking audience was bullying me. And there's even one heckler who said, talk about orgasms, which, that's, a man doing that in my audience is not going to get away with that. And so I said, wow, what kind of asshole heckles the stuttering girl? And usually at that point, every single audience will respect that and get you on their side. Oh my God, this audience hated me even more for sticking up for myself. And when I left there, I cried. I know, I'm so embarrassed to even talk about that. And it wasn't a cry because of comedy. It was a cry because of, and I'm even having a little bit of emotions now. The crying was because that experience that I had on stage was the experience that I have in my family oftentimes, where I feel that some of the older folks really didn't accept me for my speech, or me for my big mouth and kind of feminist ways, where, once my great uncle said something about, yeah, we shouldn't have any political, any voting things in English. And I said, well, or in Spanish, like the immigrants shouldn't be voting, or they should learn the language. And I said, well, didn't your father not speak English and only Italian? And he basically didn't talk to me for the next 10 years. So, I felt like the audience was like that. And also, I felt that a lot of times my parents are freaking great. They're wonderful. They support everything, but it's the generation above them who I feel didn't recognize my stuttering or want to acknowledge it, and that kept me from really interacting in the family in a really good and genuine way. And a lot of them even say stuff like, "Oh, you're stuttering. You barely even stutter anymore." And it's like, well, no, I actually do. I just don't talk around you because you make me feel self-conscious. And so that show brought up the isolation that I felt in my family. But then this very strange thing happened where I've made a ton of friends from all over the world on Facebook, and throughout this week, that was a trolley car. See? Okay. So I really am in San Francisco. And so it was that you guys friending me and giving me that kind of feedback, and all of the messages and the comments on YouTube and everything have just reminded me how, I may have felt isolated in my family, but I know that I have this amazing family of stutterers from India and Canada and New York and Britain and just everywhere, and how much I appreciate you guys. And it was just such a juxtaposition of feeling isolated within my family, but then by the time I got home, and I cried for a really long time, and I went to my parents and processed it with my boyfriend and everything, and I came back to it. I was like, okay, I am not alone because of the stutters that I am connected with. And I'm making this video as the first one that I've ever done because I love you guys, and I'm so glad that I have you and that I'm connected with you, and thanks so much for all the messages that you have sent me. Alright, I'll see you later. Bye.